Joining me right now to talk more about that is White House Deputy Press Secretary Hogan Gidley. Hogan, it's good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Great to see you, Maria. Good morning.
How will this deal get done? Walk us through it.
Well, look, the president's taken the lead on this particular piece. He wants border security first and foremost. We've talked about that in the campaign. Obviously, the president has been adamant about that since he's been in the White House, and it involves several pieces. First and foremost is actually securing the border. That's something that Democrats don't want to talk about. They refuse to address it. But that's the broader piece of national security, is actually securing the border. We obviously want to end the chain migration. We want an end to the visa lottery system. And DACA, we want a permanent fix. That's a part, one of 4 parts of the ultimate plan that the president wants done, because we want a permanent solution. We don't want to be right back where we started from in a couple of years, a couple of months, and that's what we're trying to avoid right now.
Yeah, I know, but the Democrats, it doesn't feel like they care if the government shuts down, right? And I'll quote the Wall Street Journal this morning on the op-ed page, the rule of shutdown politics. Democrats want to shut down, but Republicans are going to get blamed for it. This has been roughly true in every shutdown brawl we've watched going back to the 1980s. So are you worried that you take it to the end, you try to push for what you believe is right, and then the government shuts down and the Republicans take the blame?
No, I'm sure the mainstream media will try and push the fact that we're to blame, but we're not. Look, the president is in the White House. It's a Republican. We have a Republican Senate and a Republican House. We can't shut down the government. We're not going to. Democrats, for whatever reason, have decided to hold our military hostage over the needs of people who are in this country illegally. It makes zero political sense. And if they want to try and sell that in 2018, they're more than welcome. Be my guest. But the fact remains, we need to protect the American people first. Heading up into this deal, it's important that we get the platforms and planks that the president has outlined, because it's about putting the interests of the American people first. And for 40 years, this immigration system has not done that. It's catered to other countries and to special interest groups, and Democrats have their head in the sand on this issue. American people are with us about 70% to 30%. It's a very positive issue for the American people, and I still can't, it blows my mind that the Democrats have decided to die on this hill.
Well, I mean, I think it's more that the Democrats want to take the House and possibly the Senate in November, and they want to make the Republicans take the fall for everything. I mean, the president tweeted out this morning on border security. He reiterated this morning in a series of tweets that Mexico will pay for the wall, whether through longer-term reimbursement or NAFTA negotiations. Will Mexico come to the table? Where are you on these NAFTA talks?
Well, obviously, I don't want to get ahead of the president or any negotiation there, but he's been clear that there are various ways, even in that tweet you just mentioned, that Mexico can pay for the wall. But I do want it noted on this show, when we were in 2006, there was a Border Security Act. In 2013, there was also an act that had about $40 billion set up and established for the wall. It ended chain migration. Democrats voted for that 54-0. Now, only 2 things have changed since that vote the Democrats are unanimous on. One is the immigration system's gotten markedly worse. It's much more dangerous. It hurts the American economy much more. And the second thing is President Trump is in the White House. So I have no idea what they're thinking, because they used to be for border security. We'd love for them to be for border security again, but it seems like they're not right now. And look, the deal that was brought to the president last week, it's been much maligned. There was arguments over a word used or not used. That's irrelevant. We wasted 6 days talking about nonsense instead of trying to fix this problem. The plan that Dick Durbin and Lindsey Graham brought to the president, we wanted $18 billion. DHS was very clear. Not what they wanted, what they needed was $18 billion to build this wall to secure this border. Lindsey Graham and Dick Durbin brought $1.6 billion to the table. That's less than 1/10 of what we needed to actually secure the nation, fund the military, and protect our people.
Yeah, but when they didn't like the answer that they got, when the president said, no, 1.6 is not the number, we need much more than that, what did they do? They left the room and they leaked out what went on in the room and made sure that the world understood any language that the president may or may not have used. So that's what I'm saying. The goal here is to either their way or the highway, and it's even the Republican Party. I mean, you're talking about Lindsey Graham, a Republican. You know, we were having a conversation earlier today that it's the Republicans are so fractured. All this infighting, how are you going to unify and actually keep the majority come November?
I wouldn't say we're fractured. I mean, look, the real question is not can we get 1 or 2 Republicans on the outside. It's how come no Democrats want to secure the border. But let me talk about Lindsey Graham for a moment, because I am from South Carolina. As sure as the sun is going to rise in the east behind me and set in the west in front of me, There is no separation, no daylight, if you will, between Dick Durbin and Lindsey Graham on immigration. In the 2007 range, I was executive director of the South Carolina Republican Party, and I remember when Lindsey Graham took to the stage and tried to sell open borders and amnesty on immigration way back then. He got booed off the stage at a state convention in South Carolina. So this is nothing new for Lindsey Graham, nothing new for Dick Durbin. They're tied closely at the hip on this issue. I don't know why, but most Republicans, most Americans don't like that deal. They elected a president to secure our borders, to end chain migration, to end the visa lottery program, and actually fix DACA. It's time for a permanent solution. We cannot continue to put our American people at risk.
What about your Attorney General and what's happening in terms of the FBI? I mean, House lawmakers are expected to grill the FBI Director Chief of Staff on the agency's probe into Hillary Clinton's private email server. Here's House Oversight Committee Chairman Congressman Trey Gowdy last night.
We already know this case was handled differently from any other case that the FBI agents could remember. Now, part of that is that you're dealing with a presidential candidate, and we want to make sure that that was the only reason that it was done differently. There was an exoneration memo drafted in May of 2016 that, as a former prosecutor, I just found stunning. I find stunning that a law enforcement officer would draft it 2 months before you have interviewed the target of the investigation and before you've interviewed almost 24 witnesses.
Hogan, what's the story in terms of these agencies working against Donald Trump? I mean, Jeff Sessions, your thoughts on this investigation? People want to see accountability here.
Absolutely. People demand accountability from their government, from their elected officials, and Donald Trump is no different. We've obviously been cooperating with the FBI from the get-go. I know Trey Gowdy very well. He's going to handle this. He's going to be all over it. But look, we trust the process. We encourage everyone to be forthcoming, tell the truth.
Yeah.
And there's been no collusion on our part.